You've heard of the meth epidemic across the Bay Area? Coming up, why this might put your dog at risk.
How a deadly school crossing accident has spurred community calls for action.
Excited fans pack the Shark Tank for their home opener. How did the Sharks do? We'll have that and more on this week's Update News.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communications at San Jose State University, your source for what's happening with a fresh perspective on today's issues. You're watching Update News.
Welcome to Update News. I'm Carson Wells.
And I'm Denitris Chevis-Rose. We begin with a warning about being careful when you're out walking with your dog on a public street or path. Veterinarians say recently they've seen 5 unrelated cases of methamphetamine overdoses. The victims have all been indoor dogs. I asked the experts why this is happening and what dog owners need to know. MedVet Silicon Valley usually receives about a dozen pet overdose cases a year. The cases typically involve a house dog that has accidentally eaten its owner's medication. But recently, they've seen dogs who've ingested methamphetamine they found in the streets while walking with their owners.
Recently, within the last year, we're seeing 1 to 2 cases a month. This last week has been 5 cases, which is just, been unprecedented. Earlier last week, we had 2 cases in a 48-hour period, and then over this last weekend, we had 3 other cases.
MedVet concluded the cases are unrelated because of the distance between each incident.
We researched it, and just to make sure is it in one area, but it's all different parts of San Jose. Typically next to homeless encampments. The owners are not even sure. They're just, they're walking their dogs as normal, and then they get home and all of a sudden they're showing those signs of exposure.
Dr. Rebecca McQuitty is one of 2 doctors who treated the most recent dog methamphetamine overdose cases.
On the day after they cannot come in on emergency and get hospitalized, then I pick up the cases the next day and care for them in the hospital. Everybody this week has survived. They've all done really well.
She says taking care of a dog who has overdosed on meth is not easy.
The first really important thing on emergency is to try and get rid of as much of the toxin as we safely can. One of the really tough things about this particular toxin is that it affects multiple neurotransmitters. If we get these cases too late, they may not survive even 6 or 8 hours.
She explains that a dog's reaction to methamphetamine is similar to humans.
Hyperactivity, hyperexcitability, abnormal behaviors. And then as things get worse, we start to see muscle tremors, seizures, cardiac arrhythmias, and the worst case would be actually sudden death.
Experts say local dog parks are safer options for dog walkers. Dog owners are on edge.
I wouldn't want anyone to be poisoning my dog like that. It's actually happened to me in the past, back where I'm from. Like, one of my dogs got killed by someone throwing meat over the fence.
If you're not sure of the area that you're walking your dog, rummaging in bushes, things like that, I would advise against, especially right now since we've seen so many cases.
Vets recommend that you hold your dog's leash tight when you're on a walk. Don't leave them unattended near vegetation. An update now on a story we told you about last week. A suspect in that Stockton serial killer case is behind bars. Police arrested 43-year-old Wesley Brown Lee Saturday morning. Investigators say he is suspected in the murders of half a dozen men in the Stockton and Oakland areas. Police say Brown Lee had a gun on him when he was stopped. They believe he may have been out hunting for his next victim. Investigators say tips from the public poured in after they released this video of a person of interest. The following tips: they set up surveillance of Brown Lee. They traced his cell phone data to 3 of the murders. Investigators say Brown Lee has a criminal past. So far, they don't have a motive, but they say he has a history of mental health issues dating back to when his older brother was murdered years ago in Oakland.
Children should be able to walk to school safely, but an accident last month that claimed the life of an 8-year-old San Jose boy is prompting calls for more safety measures. Reporter Sandy Santos has the story.
As drivers come and go, They pass by school crossings, but many of them ignore the signage and speed limit warnings. Some drivers even ignore the hundreds of children walking in the area.
A boy lost his life last month in this street behind me, only a block away from his school. The third grader and a woman were crossing the street when both were hit.
Both, the boy and his nanny, were in the crosswalk. It happened in San Jose. His school is part of the Campbell Union District. Superintendent sent a letter to San Jose Mayor Sam Liccardo, urging him to take action. The school district met this week to talk about solutions that will make school crossings safer for students. The San Jose Police Department offers school safety and education training for crossing guards program. Those guards are actively monitoring 114 locations throughout San Jose. Data gathered by the National Highway Safety Traffic Association indicates that children 15 years and younger are the primary victims of crosswalk incidents. That number has doubled in the last 3 years.
A large number of cases come from drivers who are neglectful, distracted, and speeding. In San Jose, this is Sandy Santos for Update News.
Joining us now for more perspective on traffic safety around schools is Dr. Shelly Viramontes. She is the superintendent of the Campbell Union School District. Thank you for joining us. This was such a tragic accident. How has it affected your school community?
Well, certainly Jacob's family and the entire school community suffered a pain that none of us ever would want one of our families to have to endure. One of the things that we talked about is here was an 8-year-old boy doing what children do every single day, simply walking across the street. So support for the family has poured in from friends, families, our employees, our neighbors. The family put up a GoFundMe account in his honor, Jacob Villanueva, if you're interested. And the neighbors have begun to unite on more traffic calming and enforcement from the city. And the district has joined with the city of San Jose and other neighborhood groups in organizing a neighborhood safety march down Winchester Boulevard on November 5th. And as is often the case, tragedy also brings a community together, and that's certainly what we've seen in this case.
What extra safety measures are both the city and the school district taking?
Well, they haven't officially taken measures at this point. One of the things they did do was they painted the crosswalks right next to school, but one of our partners, Vice Mayor Jones, put together a memo that was signed by several members of the council and the mayor, where they are taking a bill over to asking the San Jose Rules and Open Government Committee to adopt the traffic mitigation strategies, not just for around Castlemont, but for around San Jose schools. And so traffic studies, understanding where the challenging areas are. I'm also recommending that we look at non-personnel driven mitigations, because hiring crossing guards has been a challenge for both Campbell Police Department and San Jose Police Department. So looking at ways where we could have flashing lights and things like that might actually be a more effective response than trying to find crossing guards.
What's the takeaway message for drivers near school zones?
Be alert, slow down, notice all of the happy kids and families on their way to and from school, and just help us in our efforts to keep them and other pedestrians safe.
Thank you for your time and those important safety reminders.
Thank you.
When we come back,
Black Lives Matter protesters are here right now outside of one of the city council members that are involved in the racism scandal. They are here to apply the pressure to get the council members to resign. However, in an interview, Kevin De Leon refuses. I'm Rodri Smith in Los Angeles and have the latest coming up.
The massive pumpkins are back. We'll take you to their triumphant return to the Half Moon Bay Pumpkin Festival.
I'm Padiana Martinez. Do you want to find out the changes in this week's weather? Stay tuned to find out.
The Los Angeles City Council is hoping to turn the page on a racism scandal with a new president. Veteran council member Paul Krekorian was elected during this week's virtual council meetings. Protesters threatened to shut down the meetings. They are demanding that 2 more council members resign. The scandal over-leaked. Racist comments even got the attention of the White House. President Biden called on the LA City Council members involved to step down. The now former council president has resigned, so has a labor leader. But 2 council members remain, and the protesters are keeping up the pressure. Reporter Rodri Smith brings us up to date.
The leaked conversations were secretly recorded last October. The 3 city council members, Nury Martinez, Gil Cedillo, and Kevin De Leon, along with LA County Federation of Labor President Ron Herrera, met to discuss redistricting. In the recording, there were racist and inappropriate comments about fellow council member and vulgar language. Listen in. Here's some of what they were saying.
After the airport, he goes, "Fuck, I love that idea." I said, "Tell my Grace,
So
go take it from his friend.
Don't go
after. Leave him alone. Go get the airport from his fucking little brother, that little bitch Bonnet. During Black History Month, lo lleva al council. Y lo pone acá en el, remember? It's an accessory. When we do the MLK parade.
Just like when
they used to have those statues in plantations.
Yeah, like when Nury brings her Goyard bag or the Louis Vuitton bag in places.
Black Lives Matter protesters are camping out outside of one of the council members who are involved in the racism scandal. They are protesting and they are refusing to leave, no matter how long it does take. Last Tuesday, protesters swarmed the city council meeting, demanding the council members in the leaked recording to resign. Eventually, council president Nury Martinez resigned both her presidency and her seat on the council. She made what some consider the most offensive comment about the black son of the fellow white council member. In Spanish, she called the child a little monkey.
This little black kid who's misbehaved. Este niño has they're not doing, the kid is bouncing off the effing walls on the floor, practically tipping it over. There's nothing you can do to control him. Parece changuito.
Michael Williams said that he is very upset and he won't back down until they resign.
We are here until he resigns. We will be here until he resigns. We have a long history of long occupations, long encampments, long actions against individuals. And we also have a very long record of individuals who we've gotten removed from office. And so we're confident that he will resign at some point, whether it's today, tomorrow, 2 weeks from now, he's gonna resign.
Brittany Ortiz says comments like those make it harder for people to want to go out and vote.
Also, these were minorities representing minorities, so they were supposed to be people that were trusted to do their jobs in the community and do things for the greater good just because they've come from that background. And so for them to say that, just, I don't know, it's just can we really trust anyone in our government?
Labor leader Ron Herrera also resigned, but so far the other 2 council members are digging in their heels. In Los Angeles, I'm Rodri Smith, Update News.
A lot of students on campus are from Los Angeles and are talking about this scandal. In this week's State of the Spartan, we asked them how they felt about elected officials in a multicultural environment like LA making racist remarks about minorities.
I think if you're a public official, your first responsibility is to serve the people. So if you're saying something that angers your constituents, it's just disappointing. You know, I'm not familiar with the representative's history, but the nice thing about democracy is we get to choose, and if this behavior kind of continues, we can make that decision to vote them out.
I believe that the remarks that were said really show the huge problem that we have here, not only in California, but around the country, how our representatives aren't really representing the communities, especially LA, being such a diverse city, we really have to be careful who we vote for. We really have to look into their interests and what they are willing to do for the communities they're representing, because these things can happen more often, and I feel like we can avoid it if we vote for the right people.
Yeah, so I think the responsibilities of any representative is to do just that, to be representative of the community that they serve. And so when you have racial remarks or any derogatory remarks just in general towards any racial group, I don't feel like you're looking at your community very holistically. You're not representing them in a manner in which they should be seen. And honestly, I think that's terms of removal. If you're not able to make the right decisions, speak with care, and represent your community as a whole and accurately, then you shouldn't be a representative at all. So I think them being forced to step down was the right choice, and honestly the choice of the people, which is what's more important. You're not supposed to rely necessarily on the opinions or the matters of the representative themselves, because at the end of the day, they're supposed to be ultimately just like representative of the community thoughts and sentiments.
It's back and as popular as ever, the 50th annual Half Moon Bay Pumpkin Festival. I was there and captured some of the sights and sounds.
Bumper-to-bumper traffic took over the one-lane road in and out of Half Moon Bay. Residents welcomed festival goers and vendors for the 50th annual Pumpkin Festival. All are invited, including your furry friends. The event made its triumphant return after a 2-year shutdown because of the COVID-19 pandemic.
It's just, festivals just become my heart. So we kind of just come here, and it's because of the atmosphere, the pumpkin, everything pumpkin. I love pumpkin, and just all the booths and all the crafts and the people, everybody. It just feels like a really good atmosphere.
Festival attendees can participate in arts and crafts, watch parades and other entertainers, and listen to live music. They are a big boost for Bay Area vendors. Sunny Bergman, a jewelry artisan from San Francisco, worked the festival before the shutdown and was excited to come back.
I sell jewelry. I have been doing art and wine festivals for over 20 years. And the Pumpkin Festival has been super fun. And my husband came up with his own line of pumpkin jewelry. So, yeah, so he comes with me. That helps a lot. And it's been fun to share the experience with him. And it's just fun to watch people go by.
It's good to be back. I did the festival before they closed down, and then yeah, it's finally back, and it's the 50th anniversary, so it's a big one. It's a good festival so far. We're having a lot of fun. The sales are real good, so everyone's real excited to be back out here.
A staple of the Half Moon Bay Pumpkin Festival is their pumpkin weighing competition, where contestants come from all over to show off their massive pumpkins.
This year's winner was a pumpkin weighing in at 2,560 pounds. Its owner is Travis Geinger from Anoka, Minnesota. This was his second time winning the competition.
If you're going out to search for your great pumpkin this weekend, looks like we might be getting some cooler temperatures. Badiana Martinez Garcia has your weather forecast.
Hi, I'm Badiana, and here's a look at this week's weather forecast. We're seeing warmer temperatures returning to the Bay Area this week, but get ready for a weekend change with cooler temperatures and more wind that may possibly lead to some showers, which is definitely needed in the Bay Area after having such a hot summer. Let's look at the futurecast. The futurecast into the weekend shows increasing clouds at times with rain shown through green passing through the Northern California, but most of this may end up staying north and east of the Bay Area. We could see a few showers that time, but totals are to be expected. Generally light wind and cooler temperatures will be more widespread into the weekend. Let's take a look at the 7-day forecast. Here we have Santa Cruz showing the cooling trend ahead for the weekend and next week. We start off at 68 degrees on Thursday and we drop down to 60 on Saturday. Don't worry, there won't be any rain or some sprinkles. For Oakland, we see that there is increase in clouds, cooler conditions from the weekend into the next week. Same for San Francisco. We start at 73 with a few possible winds There may be some sprinkles, but there's no need for an umbrella. We will be at 66 degrees. For San Jose, we start off in the high 70s and then we drop down to the high 60s. There will be cooler temperatures and we will expect the temperatures to drop over the weekend. I'm Badiana and back to the desk.
When we come back, Jesus Teletude is talking
The
sports.
Warriors are back in action and with some new championship jewelry to show off in its home opener against the Los Angeles Lakers. And the ACP Center was hit with a wave of teal as fans welcomed back the San Jose Sharks in the team's home opener.
At San Jose State, we really do learn by doing. This is my first semester working on our award-winning newspaper, the Spartan Daily. But my whole time here really has been about real-world skill building. Professors like Diane Gurazi continue their work in journalism while bringing that knowledge back to us in the classroom each semester. Then we're on the Spartan Daily, Update News, or the Spear. We get to put all that into practice. We even get to work with cutting-edge tools like our new VR lab, where we get to learn new ways of real storytelling using 3D virtual reality.
Our students have many opportunities to work in newsrooms that function like the ones they will encounter in their professional careers. Here in Update News, for instance, we produce a weekly show that is aired on local access television in San Jose, and we produce video news that is digital first. Students will get experience as producers, anchors, and field reporters.
The Spartan Daily, our award-winning student newspaper, has not missed a scheduled publication date in more than 80 years and remains one of the longest-standing papers of its kind in the Western United States. Through classroom instruction and our newsroom labs, we give our students the tools to succeed and create their own bright futures. Learn by doing. If you're interested in joining our program, visit our website for more information.
There's a lot going on in the world of sports, from hockey to basketball to football.
Don't worry, Jesus Teletude has you covered. Jesus, with all the sports you've been covering, did you even have time to study this week?
You know, it was tight, but I couldn't miss out on these exciting home openers in the Bay Area, you know? Well, the fans welcome back the San Jose Sharks as the team played its home opener against the Carolina Hurricane. The team was in the hunt for its first win of the season after losing twice to the Nashville Predators in Europe. Their loyal fans were ready to cheer on the Sharks, and I was there to experience the excitement with them.
Go Sharks!
It was the home opener for the Sharks Friday night, and fans came in full force. They flooded the ACP Center in teal colors to support the Sharks as the team looked for its first win of the new season. Despite the poor start, fans still had optimism the Sharks could turn it around.
It's day one for us here in San Jose, where it's day three for them. It's always win the Stanley Cup, no matter what.
A lot of excitement, a better team than last year, and maybe even the playoffs. But I want to see a lot of victories and a lot of good effort out there on the ice.
The Sharks did show a good effort to begin the game as Evgeny Shishkakov scored to give the team in teal the lead. But the Carolina Hurricane fought back and ultimately won the game after Martin Nesses tied the game and Sebastian Aho scored the winner late in the third quarter.
It was a night of new beginnings here at ACP Center. In the offseason, the Sharks hired a new head coach, David Quinn, and they also hired a new general manager, Mike Greer, who became the first black general manager in NHL history. It was also an emotional night for the team. The Sharks played tribute to Brett Burns, who returned to ACP Center after signing with the Carolina Hurricane. Burns played 11 seasons for the Sharks.
I thought we looked mentally fatigued a little bit tonight. We weren't sharp, and when your whole team kind of looks the way we did, you know, there's a reason for it, and we're going to find out why.
The Sharks are still looking for that first win of the season as the team travels to New York to take on the Rangers. Now let's go to San Francisco, where the Golden State Warriors and Steph Curry are back on the court splashing three-pointers, as the team opened up the NBA regular season Tuesday night against LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers. It was also ring night at Chase Center. The team celebrated its championship title from last season with the fans, and I was there to catch it all.
Warriors!
Excitement filled the air at Chase Center as the Golden State Warriors returned to the court for the team's season opener. Fans lined up hours before the game and packed the arena to give the Dubs a hero's welcome after winning the NBA championship last season.
We're coming from Vegas. We all support the Warriors. We've been watching them for years.
Es mi primera vez que estoy aquí y estoy muy emocionada. No puedo decir otra cosa. Ya quiero entrar allá adentro y empezar a gritarles.
It was a party here at Chase Center as the Warriors celebrated their 2022-2021 NBA championship. The team hung up the banner and distributed their NBA championship to their players. And to start off the season, they faced LeBron James and the LA Lakers. The Warriors picked up right where they left off last season as the team blew out the LA Lakers 123-109. Steph Curry finished the game with a team-high 33 points and 4 three-pointers. Despite Jordan Poole and Draymond Green making headlines for an altercation in practice 2 weeks ago, the team chemistry didn't take a hit as the Warriors had 31 assists, 8 more than the Lakers.
I mean, I'm thrilled with the win, and you know, ring night is never an easy game, and the first game of the season is usually filled with some nerves, you know, early on.
Some really talented teams that are going to be gunning for you, so we got to be ready for it all, knowing that it's going to be a very long journey. But that's why we play. That's why we're competitive. That's why we work as hard as we do. Nobody's just sitting and going to stare at that ring and be like, oh, it's over.
The Warriors are back at Chase Center tomorrow as the Denver Nuggets come to town to face the Dubs. Now let's check in with the San Jose State football team as the Spartans had their 3-game winning streak snapped by the rival Bulldogs in Fresno. Let's jump to the second quarter of this game where SJSU linebacker Byron Parham knocked the ball loose. That set up cornerback Kenyon Reed to recover the fumble and give the Spartans the momentum early on. But the defense didn't stop there as defensive lineman Viliami Fehoko strip-sacked the Fresno quarterback to take the ball back. It set up the San Jose State offense at Fresno's 30-yard line. The Spartans finished the game with 2 fumble recoveries and an interception. SJSU again got the ball in Fresno territory after the fumble recovery, but this time quarterback Chevin Cordero found Elijah Cooks in the end zone. Cordero finished the game with a total of 294 yards, but it wasn't enough as the Bulldogs won 17-10. The 4-2 Spartans will now look to put that loss behind them as the team takes on the Aggies in New Mexico. Well, a busy week in sports.
Thanks, Jesus. Good stuff. If you can pull yourself away from all those sporting events, there are lots of other things going on. Here's Carson's coming up calendar.
Here are some things to look forward to this upcoming week. San Jose State's theater department opens its performance of Passage, beginning October 20th and continuing until October 22nd. The show will take place in the Hal Todd Theater. Meet the King of Klingon, Dr. Mark Okrand. He is the creator of some of the Star Trek languages. The event takes place at 1 p.m. over Zoom. Support the SJSU Symphony Orchestra by attending their concert. The performance begins at 7 p.m. in the Music Building Concert Hall. Here's what's coming up in athletics. On October 21st, the women's swim team competes at 1 p.m. Also on the 21st, men's soccer plays at 7 p.m. On October 23rd, men's water polo plays at 9 a.m. and on the 23rd, men's soccer plays at 1 p.m. That's all for this week.
And that does it for this week's edition of Update News.
For all of us here, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Have a great weekend.